by using prescribed burns. Our trained natural resources staff meticulously plan each burn. These preparations account for
I'd like to call to order the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners. Roll call, please.
Jevin Singh,
Here.
McGuire,
Here.
McMurtry,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Moran,
Here.
Zhang,
Here.
and Ortega.
Aye. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Land Acknowledgement, Commissioner McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will. Some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life. And some have lived on this land since time immemorial. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We are standing on the ancestral lands of the Dakota people. We want to acknowledge the Ojibwe, the Ho-Chunk, and the other nations of people who also call this place home. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the treaties made by the tribal nations that entitle non-Native people to live and work in traditional Native lands. Consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events.
Thank you, Commissioner. Before we continue with our business, I'd like to make a statement. Ramsey County mourns the loss of Sergeant First Class Nicole Amer of White Bear Lake, who was killed in action while serving our country in Kuwait. We extend our deepest condolences to her family, friends, fellow service members, and all who knew and loved her. Their sacrifice and hers will never be forgotten. Sergeant First Class Amer served our nation for more than 20 years in the military and was a devoted wife and mother of 2 children. She answered the call to serve with courage and dedication, representing the very best. Excuse me. The very best of our community. We are profoundly grateful for her service and for the sacrifices made by her family and loved ones in support of that service. Ramsey County will honor First Class Sergeant Amer by adding her name to the list of the names of service members from the county who have given their lives in military service, which is displayed in Memorial Hall at the Ramsey County Courthouse. The memorial stands as a lasting tribute to service members from our community who gave their lives to defend our nation. Residents who wish to learn more about the Memorial Hall can explore the story available in the Ramsey County Open Data Portal or visit Memorial Hall at the Ramsey County Courthouse. Our thoughts are with Sergeant First Class Amer's family and friends during this difficult time. We also hold in our hearts all of those who are currently serving our nation. Ramsey County is forever grateful for their courage, sacrifice, and commitment to protecting our freedom. Let's have a moment of silence for Sergeant Amer, but also for all the others who lost their lives in the current war we're involved in. Thank you. I'll now, Commissioner McGuire, administrative items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Oh, wait, no, we have to do the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Approval of the agenda of March 10th, 2026.
Second.
Seeing no discussion, roll call.
McGuire,
Aye.
McMurtry,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran,
Aye.
Zhang,
Aye.
Jebin Singh,
Aye.
and Ortega.
I'll entertain a motion on the minutes of February 17th, 2026.
Second.
Seeing no discussion, roll call.
McGuire,
Aye.
McMurtry,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran,
Aye.
Zhang,
Aye.
Jebin Singh,
Aye.
and Ortega.
Aye. Commissioner McGuire, administrative agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to move administrative item number 3, the purchase of services agreement with Recycling and Energy for employee benefit services. Item number 4, fiscal agent agreement with Ramsey Washington Recycling and Energy. Item number 5, grant agreement with the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of the City of St. Paul for Familiar Families pilot program.
I'd like to pull that.
Okay, and that completes that.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
McGuire,
Aye.
McMurtry,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran,
Aye.
Zhang,
Aye.
Jebin Singh,
Aye.
and Ortega.
Aye. Okay, item number 5.
I was just wondering if we had, or I move item number 5, I'd love to have staff just give a little overview of the program.
I'll second it so we can get it before us.
Thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner, I'll call up the Housing Stability Team. Just so folks know, you did approve this agreement just a couple of weeks ago. We had to make a technical fix that there is, the JPA has to be with the Housing and Redevelopment Authority and not the City of St. Paul because of the source of funds.
Okay.
So if Director Wilkins wants to come up or
So this is-
staff.
okay, so
Yeah,
this
it's
is-
something you've just recently approved.
I
so.
wasn't sure if that, I guess
Yeah.
that was kind of I
Yeah.
was confused by
Yep.
that.
Good morning, Chair Ortega, Commissioners, County Manager Becker. I'm Lori Pierce,
Back again.
Interim Code Deputy Director of Housing Stability, along with our new Director, Jamie Wilkins.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners.
As County Manager Becker mentioned, this item actually came to the board in December of 2025. It is a pilot program between a joint venture with the City of St. Paul. We are also receiving some funding from the St. Paul Foundation. And this will focus on families that cycle in and out of homelessness. It's very similar to the Familiar Faces project, and where this will be for a year and focusing on up to 60 individuals, primarily approximately 20 every 4 months. So we figured about 60 for the year pilot, primarily children that are in and out of homelessness, and we will most likely go to competitive solicitation for finding a provider to help us get this pilot out.
Well, since you're here, in regards to highly mobile families who are recycling in and out of homelessness with many challenges, how does that work to focus on them for 4 months? Because we know it takes longer than 4 months to even find housing for a family. You know, is it about placing, or is it about numbers? So, you know,
Yeah, Commissioner Moran, that's a great question. The eligibility criteria are families that have been homeless for 4+ years and or meet the definition of chronic homelessness. So they are already on the priority list and already looking. So it might, to your point, be longer than 4 months of continued wraparound services, but we're going to concentrate on those families first and then make sure that they get placement, case management services, and look at to why they were on the list for such a long period of time and get them housing ready. So when their name comes up for availability, we can move them quickly into housing and provide to a provider that can give that long-term.
To a provider that can do the long-term services and support that's needed. So you don't just drop them.
Correct.
It's a continuum of support. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for that clarification. I was just jogging my memory, but appreciative of the efforts and interested in seeing what we'll learn after a year.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, roll call.
McGuire,
Aye.
excuse me, McMurtry,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran,
Aye.
Zhang,
Aye.
Jebin Singh,
Aye.
and Ortega.
Aye. Updates? Who's doing number 6?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to provide the board an informational update about our response to Operation Metro Surge this morning. Commissioners, I wanted to ensure that you were understanding the steps that we are taking to support our community as we work through the transition period here. Just as a reminder, the federal government launched Operation Metro Surge in Minnesota in December of 2025, deploying an estimated 3,000 immigration enforcement agents from ICE and the Customs and Borders Protection Agency. That number exceeded the combined total number of law enforcement officers, within some of our communities in the metro area. On February 3rd, you all unanimously passed a resolution condemning the aggressive tactics used during the surge and mourned the loss of life and the physical injuries and community trauma that resulted. The board then further directed me as part of that resolution to establish and to further work through our county coordinated response. And so as part of that, we continued our work through what's been called the Surge Response Core Team to ensure we had coordinated decision making, we were leveraging appropriate resources, and implementing the board's directive. So while the federal administration announced that in mid-February that the surge would be ending and thousands of agents would be withdrawn, it remains unclear how many federal agents still remain in Minnesota. What is clear, however, is that the impacts of the surge continue to be felt in Ramsey County long after the operations have now transitioned. Ramsey County is the most diverse urban county in Minnesota. A higher share of our residents are foreign-born, almost double the percentage compared to statewide. And many of our households speak languages other than English, almost a quarter of our population. The county also has the larger Asian, Black, Hispanic population, as well as American Indian compared to the rest of the surge. And we know that the surge has targeted Somalis, Latinos, Asians, American Indians, and other non-white disproportionately, meaning that these communities have experienced the greatest impacts. And so we are, as a county, are making efforts to address and reduce these harms as much as possible. So one of the most significant impacts that's ongoing is our community's mental health. Recent assessments have described the surge as a protection crisis of sorts because its effects go beyond the physical safety and deeply affect the emotional well-being of our residents. Many immigrant and refugee families have experienced heightened anxiety and fear due to raids, detention, and family separation. Children in particular are withdrawing from school and social activities, increasing risks of depression and anxiety. So to help address these needs, Ramsey County will be providing $75,000 in one-time funding to the Ramsey County Children's Mental Health Collaborative. These funds will strengthen access to mental health supports and basic needs services during this time by helping to increase referrals and reduce waiting lists. The funding will support a proactive outreach, cross-system collaboration, and assistance to connecting families with services. In addition, we are addressing the economic impacts of the surge as well at your request. Many residents and small businesses have experienced extreme work disruptions and loss of revenue during this period. So to provide relief, the county is announcing today that we are implementing a 2-month temporary extension on the first half of 2026 property tax payments. Eligible property owners will be able to pay their property taxes up to 2 months past the typical deadline without any late penalties. This temporary extension will apply to non-escrowed homestead properties, certain small businesses with annual property tax obligations of $50,000 or less, and residential non-homestead properties with 1 to 3 units and an annual property tax obligation of $20,000 or less. Details can be found on our property tax website and will be shared throughout the community. Under Minnesota law, counties are authorized to abate penalties for late payments of property taxes. The board has previously delegated this authority to our county treasurer Because of that existing authority, no additional action today is needed from the board in order to make that happen. To administer the program, the county will create a property tax extension application form. It will be available online and in a paper format. Those have to be submitted by July 15th of this year, and approved applicants may make their payments up to 2 months after the date then without penalty. If payment is not made by the extended deadline, statutory penalties will apply retroactively as required by the law. So in addition to those two specific responses, the county's taken several steps to address immediate and ongoing impacts of the surge that you are well aware of, but I wanted to just highlight them as today we're spending some time with this update. The first is we posted signage at county parks and facilities to deter unauthorized use of our county properties, making staging, storage, and operations by outside agencies not allowed without a permit. We also designated non-public areas within our county buildings and clarified that federal agents may not access certain areas without a valid judicial warrant. And this is something we've worked on throughout the surge. In addition, Ramsey County Attorney John Choi, you'll recall, came and talked to you all about a month ago. He worked closely with our law enforcement agencies to develop guidance for our residents who witness or experience potential crimes due to federal agents. They were advised how to contact their local law enforcement and how to file a report. John joined me recently on an episode of Najong, Ramsey County, which is our Hmong radio and television outreach that we do with the community. We also established protocols for county employees and how they should interact with immigration at county sites. We had some staff protocol for quite a while, probably well over a year previously, about how to engage with law enforcement activities in partnership with the county attorney's office. More recently, we had delivered field training essentially for those working out in community, and we had a total of 425 employees in the organization who took part in those sessions. Excuse me. So recognizing the surge also places stress on our workforce, I gave you frequent updates on both mental health and wellness resources being shared through human resources and our employee assistance program. We were happy that throughout this process we were able to launch a new mobile app through our EAP so that employees could have more access to those services. County departments have adapted to delivering virtual services. We kind of strengthened that muscle during the pandemic and continued to lean into that. We created a brand new public website to help residents connect to resources, including food assistance, eviction prevention programs, and mental health. We reached residents through social media. We distributed multilingual postcards through county programs, food shelves, St. Paul Libraries and Parks, and St. Paul Public Schools. And then, and many of you were in DC a couple weeks ago, and we did provide an update to our federal delegation about impacts of the surge as well. And so, and finally, you know, we've kept county employees updated through our Ramsey Net, which is our intranet, to let them know about what's happening and what services and supports that they can be receiving. So in closing, while Metro Surge may be winding down, the county's work continues. Our work remains to support our community's recovery, protecting access to our services, and ensuring our residents and employees have the resources that they need to move forward. I want to thank you for your support. I believe this report closes out many of all of the, if not all, the things that you asked me to do in the February 3rd resolution. So I'm happy to take any questions, but again, the most significant thing probably for our community is that property tax extension, and we will be sharing more information about that to our community. I also want to thank the other taxing jurisdictions that we work with and our county treasurer, Tracy West, for working with them. Obviously, when we make property tax decisions, there's impacts on our cities, our school districts, and other taxing jurisdictions. And so in coordination with them, we were able to make this pivot. Thank you. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. I have one. Can you make sure that that the form that's created for the property tax extension is in its simplest form. Because it's the audience of people, I mean, if you're talking about small businesses, we don't need to give them complicated forms to fill out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Garrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to really thank the county manager again for taking on this work. It's really important that we really begin the next steps of how we rebuild as a community and address a lot of the lasting impacts that we know that the federal occupation is going to have. So really thank you again for doing this. My one question is around so with the criteria or the different categories that would qualify for the 2-month extension, do we have data on kind of the percentage of properties that fall under these different categories?
Yeah, I'm going to see if our county treasurer can come up, Tracy West, and answer some of your questions. Are you asking like what percentage of properties are not escrowed,
Or
maybe, or those type of
non-escrowed,
things?
or
Yeah.
small businesses
Yeah.
non-escrowed?
Chair, Commissioners, thank you for the questions. I don't have the exact number of properties that are non-escrowed, but we did do this back in 2020, and we had about 32 million in tax extension qualified for the tax extension, and then we saw about 18% of those who qualified actually took advantage of the program. But I will make sure to follow up and get the exact numbers for you.
That'd be great, and I think it'll be helpful, once we get past this July 15th deadline to kind of get an update on how many folks utilized this and took advantage of this extension. I know that I'll be doing my part to, push this out in the community and make sure folks are aware, but thanks for the follow-up on this.
Yes.
I have a question before you leave, just for the audience and anybody else. Give us the definitions of escrow, non-escrow.
Chair, Commissioners, good question. So escrow is when you have your property tax payments automatically set up with your mortgage company. So then non-escrow would be if you pay it online or in person.
Gotcha. So you say that's about 18%. In essence, people who might have paid off their mortgage but now are paying property taxes on their own.
Correct. And countywide, about 50% of residents escrow their payments.
Okay, gotcha. So the other 50% we could say is non-escrow.
Correct.
Thank you. Any other, Commissioner?
Yes. Oh, no, not for, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
we good? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I was just going to say, I appreciate the county manager's ability to infuse some funds with the Ramsey County Children's Mental Health Collaborative. And for those who are not familiar, the Ramsey County Children's Mental Health Collaborative has quite an extensive online resource bank, not only for tools that people can access at any time, but they also have extensive relationship with local providers, culturally rooted providers, and have keep updated lists on waiting times, who has openings, and this was really built out during COVID. And the families that are held within that collaborative's service base are some of our most complex families facing multiple challenges. And so I encourage anybody who is looking for additional resources to support their family, that the website really is the first start. And these kind of dollars, I appreciate that working with established relationships and knowing that they're already doing this extensive outreach. They're already working with providers that are trusted community partners. And so I think it was a wonderful way for us to meet the moment in the moment rather than something that would have impact months from now. So I really do appreciate that. One of the questions that I had on some of the other programs were just a question of, I know that we've done a really good push on making sure that all of our services are available to people wherever they're at and virtually, and I'm just wondering, do we have a sense of requests to some of our programs? Did they drop during this time, or were they shifted to phone or online requests? Do we anticipate that there will be a number of people calling as they feel more comfortable and reemerge out of sheltering in place, or did it keep pace? I'm just curious if we were able to meet people with these new ways of, or reminding them of all of the ways that they could reach us.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner, for your question. We've been getting operational reports from the departments throughout the surge. We're in the process right now. Yesterday, I actually reviewed an after-action report that we are now going to. We need to do one more piece, which is to get some feedback from some of the departments on exactly what you're asking. So I believe I would think in about a month, I'll be able to actually send you an official after-action report that will cover a lot of that. I think when I say that we really flexed our already existing muscle, a lot of the things of pivoting to virtual was not new. We're already doing all those things, right? So perhaps some decline in our in-person, for example, if there was even any in our service center, we already had a robust call center and navigation, online and by phone. So in many ways, it was a little bit business as usual, even despite the challenge, because we had many of the tools in place. So, yeah.
That's really good to hear. And then my last question was just, I think that this property tax extension will impact businesses, landlords, and residential homeowners. But I know that there also is some concern about rental assistance and other kind of things. And I'm just curious. I know that we have been promoting our emergency assistance dollars. We had a brief update a while back. And I'm just wondering, will we also get a report on if there's been an uptick in requests for that? And if there's any increase in our eviction court, cases, or I want us to stay on top of that issue as well as families are making their way through this time.
Yeah, thank you for that, Commissioner. We can make sure that is included in the after-action report. I think a lot of, maybe it's not a lot, but several cities in Ramsey County are providing eviction assistance, even a couple in the suburbs as well. In addition to the city of St. Paul, have infused additional resources into that space. So I think some of that is time lagged. We're just hitting like March 1, whether or not, what happens April 1. So in many ways, I think we'll know more in the next 60-ish days when it comes to eviction, so we can be tracking that. In terms of the business assistance, for the property tax, I do think that could be very helpful for some small businesses because, they're kind of entering into the summer season. Hopefully they can get ramped back up, and maybe just having that cash flow for an extra couple months can, keep you afloat in a way and keep things going as maybe business picks up. So, yeah, thank you for the questions. All right.
So let's move on to the presentation on the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I can give a little intro into this, please come on up, Director Ali and Deputy Director Hadeen. I don't know who's coming up, but I had asked our financial assistance services to bring this to the board as just a primer on how we do SNAP certifications. I know there's been a lot of conversations about the eligibility process and about how we recertify as it comes to sort of federal injunctures and things like that we've received. So I wanted a chance for you to hear about the work that we're doing. In addition, this is sort of a slight preview to the fact that we've had an all-hands-on-deck effort around bringing down the error rate for SNAP as we try to be on the defensive or offensive mode when it comes to HR 1. So you're going to be seeing that very soon, but I thought this would be a good short presentation for today. So thanks, Deputy County Manager Francois.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioners, and County Manager Becker. And thank you, especially County Manager Becker, for giving the brief overview of what we were going to do today, because that's what I was going to do, but I appreciate you doing it. I will just add one thing. We are coming back to the board on April 28th to a board workshop where we will do a deeper dive into the current stage of all hands on deck, which is what we call access and accuracy. So now I'm just going to turn it over to Director Ali to take us through the SNAP recertification process. We're also joined by Deputy Director Jason Hadeen, who will participate in the presentation as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy County Manager Francois. Good morning, Chair, Commissioners, County Manager. It's my pleasure to be here today. Excuse me. It's my pleasure to be here today to give you an update about the SNAP recertification program. SNAP has been talked about quite a bit recently for a variety of reasons. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, is a federal food assistance program authorized and funded by the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA. Each state administers a SNAP program under federal rules with some flexibility in how policies and operations are carried out. In Minnesota, state law and administrative rules determine how eligibility criteria, reporting requirements, and administrative procedures are structured. Counties accept applications, determine eligibility, issue benefit, and handle recertification in accordance with state and federal regulations. This means county staff are responsible for completing the full application or full recertification process from start to finish. While some steps are supported by state systems, most recertification work is completed manually by county staff. Let's walk through the SNAP recertification life cycle, how it looks like at the county level. The SNAP recertification process is similar to the application process. During a certification period, households follow either change reporting or 6-month reporting requirements, which are explained in their approval notice. Benefits are approved for a set period of time, and a renewal notice is mailed about 45 days before benefits are scheduled to end. Households report changes such as income, household members, and housing costs, so eligibility can be reviewed. Most renewals include a short interview, usually completed by phone. Residents may be asked to provide documents such as proof of income or expenses to verify continued eligibility. Once all required information is received, staff review the case and determine eligibility based on state and federal rules. If the renewal is completed on time and household remains eligible, benefits continue. However, if information is late or missing, benefits may change, pause, or end. A new application may be required. Because SNAP is federally regulated, staff must apply policy consistently and document eligibility decisions thoroughly in the case note. Deviating from state policy, even with good intent, can increase the county's error rate and may result in federal financial penalties. With that overview of the recertification process, I will now turn it over to Deputy Director Jason Hadeen to walk through Ramsey County's SNAP caseload and program statistics.
Excuse me, Commissioner Singh.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of ask a little more question on what would constitute an error rate. You mentioned a couple of things, and I think maybe just to put that into real terms as to what might cause an error rate, either because of administratively on our side, documentation, or something as far as payment, overpayment, underpayment, those kind of things.
Good question. Chair Commissioner Jaban Singh, that's a very, very good question. So SNAP payment error rate, each year, once the QC is conducted, there is findings that tell us about what are the most error areas. The most common error rate in SNAP program are household composition, income, utility cost, and shelter cost. Once the financial workers receive this information, and as they enter this information into the system, if they don't use the correct information, that may result overpayment or underpayment, and that's what the payment error is about.
And how often, just naturally in the course of doing your own administration of this, do you catch those errors and then adjust the payments? I mean, how much of that is just part of lots of information going back and forth, and how much of it is, I guess the question I have is, having worked with some folks on some of this, I know we talk about fraud, we talk about people abusing the system, we talk about all of that, but some of this error rate is just the nature of a lot of information is being passed between households and the county. And there's also a lot of different typing in, into screens and things like that. And so how much of this is just, the basic work of all of this paper going back and forth, and how much of it do you feel is like a true mistake or a true concern?
Very good question, Commissioner. Most errors is due to administrative errors. It's about how to process the case. The worker may overlook the paycheck that someone received, and that information may not be reflected into the case note. And some people may conduct intentionally program violation, and that there is rules and procedures that we will follow that. And we have a quality control, and that quality control captures those errors once they take place.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's my understanding that in Ramsey County, in Minnesota, we have a pretty low error rate, though, generally with all of these cases, because I know nationally, I think that if you have a really high error rate, you actually don't have to, you actually get to delay the penalties. If you have a lower rate, you have to, you have penalties. But I think we have a pretty low, it's very counter what it should be, but at the national level. But my sense is that we have everybody does the best they can, and we have some error rates, but we generally, in the scheme of things in the country, have on the lower end of error rates. Do you know?
Good question, Commissioner. State of Minnesota, the last official payment error rate that we received is above the threshold that determines payment error rate from FNS, from Food and Administration Services. The payment error rate is determined any error rate that's above 6%. If it's above 6%, then the penalties will kick in from 5%, 10% to 15%. The state of Minnesota now is above 10%, in my understanding.
Yeah, thank you, commissioners, for these questions. Like I said, this is like a little bit of a primer on the certification process. We're going to dig into the error rate on April 26th, I believe, 28th. But 28th. But currently the Minnesota rate is what Director Ali said. It's about 11%, which would actually have us incurring a pretty high penalty. It's 15% with HR 1. That's why we're working so diligently to sort of bring down our own error rate, even though it's the collective state error rate that will drive what the penalty will be. But we can assume that they might be looking at where everybody's at as they figure out how to sort of mitigate whatever's coming. So look forward to all those questions. Our team's been working really hard. I think rather than going into the weeds on the error rate today, I want to make sure that they can explain the overall of the SNAP program, and then we want to talk about all the strategies that they've been working on to bring down that error rate in just a few weeks with you all. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Director, please.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you, Director Ali. For Ramsey County, that translates to about 34,000 active SNAP cases. That supports over 60,000 residents in a typical month. Of course, that number fluctuates a little bit. Most cases are recertified every 12 months, while households with regular income are required to report every 6 months. As a result, about half of all Ramsey County SNAP cases, approximately 17,000, have moved through the recertification in just the last 6 months. On average, staff process about 2,800 recertifications each month with a required 30-day window to complete the process. Interviews are usually completed by phone, which is how most residents choose to participate in the process. Taken together, this reflects a steady, high-volume workload that directly impacts timeliness, accuracy, and resident access.
Excuse me, Commissioner Singh.
And this may be a question then that we just tack on for the broader presentation, but with HR 1 pushing to have everybody be recertified every 6 months, when I look at this, I mean, what we talking about this workload, and then wanting to make sure that we're making sure to have a quality on this. I mean, how much would that be as far as staffing and cost to be able to all of a sudden be certifying everybody every 6 months?
I can
that
help
might
with
be
this.
for, yeah.
So thanks, Commissioner. We're doing some early estimates right now, and I know we've been working with Ollie's team and fiscal to work on some of this, but it could be up to, Ollie, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe 75 additional staff potentially. So.
Okay. And can I just assume that, are there any dollars to help us with these additional administrative requests?
Not at the federal level.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I would just add that calculations also taking into consideration the Medicaid.
Yeah, the Medicaid changes too.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
Excuse me, Jason, the 2,800 recertifications per month, how do I measure that? What is that good, bad?
That's really an average based on how many cases we have and cases recertifying every 12 months. So it's an average that, you know, there's some months we may have 3,000 and other months we may have 2,500.
Okay, so 2,800 is how long of a trend? Is that happen over 2 or 3 months period?
I see what you're asking.
I'm trying to get a sense of the trending.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. We have, each month, we have a certain number of cases that recertify, that come up for recertification. It's their annual 12-month recertification. The process, though, like residents get notified 45 days in advance of that, and so they get the paperwork and everything. So it's sort of a cyclical nature that our staff go through every month. The notifications go out, information comes back, staff put that into the system, and they sort of repeat that each month, but with different residents, because most residents are only recertifying every 12 months.
So let me ask you this question. So in March of 2025, could I assume that the recertification for that month was around 2,800?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Next slide. All right. This chart shows how active cases are distributed across financial assistance services. While SNAP represents about 1/4 of our total caseload, the key takeaway here is that these programs require similar administrative and recertification work. Each program has its own eligibility rules, but the core responsibilities such as recertifications, renewals, verifications, interviews, and eligibility processing are largely the same. This means staff are managing a high volume of complex recurring work across multiple programs at the same time, not just SNAP. Looking ahead, federal policy changes such as HR 1 introduce more frequent recertifications across programs, which directly increase the amount of administrative work that's required by our staff. That additional work is absorbed by the same FAS staff using the same processes within the same timelines. Without changes to how this work is supported, increased recertification frequency will place added pressure on staff capacity and increase risk to timeliness, accuracy across all programs. That concludes the overview of SNAP recertification process with this work and what this work looked like at the county level in terms of case volume and operational effect. We appreciate the opportunity to provide this context and welcome any questions the board may have.
Thank you. Commissioner Singh?
So the county is in charge of the certification and the eligibility process, but the dollars come from the federal government the role that we are playing as far as making sure that our residents are receiving the services that they're eligible for, how much money does that actually bring into the county? I mean, because those dollars are then part of SNAP benefits that go to our grocery stores, they're dollars that go to our medical clinics and our hospitals. I mean, how much money are we helping facilitate being drawn into our community, which was, tax dollars that were collected and sent to DC, and now they're coming back to us. So I'm just curious, with our facilitating this, how much money does this then bring back into our community?
Commissioner Jabani Singh, that's a very, very good question. In 2026, SNAP program has what's called SNAP benefit cost, meaning the actual amount that recipients receive. In 2025, or 2024, Ramsey County alone, the portion that we issued was 126 million. That includes SNAP, federal, and state food portion.
That's to the state or to the county?
That's county.
County.
Okay, so any kind of disruption in our ability to make sure that these certifications go through would have impacts beyond the people who are receiving these services.
If someone falls the cracks, they're not eligible. Yes.
To add to your question, what comes to my thinking is that that also impacts our economy, but it impacts the economy in our poorest neighborhoods. So that's another, we're just talking internally at this point. Thank you so much. Any other questions?
I'll reserve any for our broader discussion, but thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, commissioners.
Excuse me. Legislative update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've had a busy legislative few weeks here. Many of us attended several conferences, our national conference and our statewide conference. I want to thank Jolie Wood for all of her work in helping us get, and the government relations team for getting all of the information for all of us as we did our meetings. So many of us were in Washington, D.C., and we met with Betty McCollum, with Congresswoman Betty McCollum, Senator Klobuchar, Senator Smith, and Congresswoman Angie Craig, and we focused our work on the impacts of the Metro surge on our community, as well as impacts on Ramsey County operations and service delivery. We talked about, as we've just heard, the SNAP and Medicaid, the serious fiscal and administrative challenges that the county will face with the changes to SNAP and Medicaid in H.R. 1. And we heard a little bit about that now. And then the concerns that we have about the Save America Act, which would require people to provide proof of citizenship when they register to vote and when they show up to vote. And we're going to learn some more about this issue at our workshop this morning, which is on our elections. So we can talk more about that bill, which would be problematic I'll just give an example. People have to provide proof of citizenship, which is sometimes a birth certificate, but your birth certificate, if you're a married woman and you've changed your name, your birth certificate will have a different name on it than your official name. And so it's going to be problematic for many people to have to show that proof of citizenship. So we'll be talking about that at the workshop this morning. Also, we had our AMC, our Association of Minnesota Counties Day, or a few days, our legislative conference, and many of us met with our local elected officials, our state representatives and our senators. And I want to thank all of us here in this room who attended those meetings. We have a very dedicated legislative delegation that really want to help us with our issues, and we are helping them help us with the information that we provide us. So I just want to say that last week we had a delegation meeting on Zoom where we had about 15 of our delegation members listened to our mainly one of our top issues at the legislature, which is our Capital Complex County Host Program, which would provide an annual state appropriation to the county as host of the state Capitol Complex. And so we had a great meeting with our legislators and on that issue, and we also talked about our bonding, our number one bonding request, which is our park at River's Edge, which will connect people to the river here in Ramsey County. And so we also talked about the extension of the mortgage registry and deed tax, which funds our environmental response fund, which really helps us redevelop our land. So many thanks to all of our legislators who are helping us with this legislation and carrying these bills for us. We are continuing at the state legislature. It's in session now, and we're continuing to talk about all of these issues at the legislature. We also talked about the need for modernization of our technology system that the state requires us to use to administer human services programs. This is one of the number one issues that we have at AMC, but also in our county as well. So our top legislative issues are are similar to what the rest of the state has, which is modernization of our technology systems, which is the impacts of the SNAP and Medicaid issues, and also the African American Family Preservation Act. So with that, we are having a Metro Parks meeting. It was scheduled for tomorrow. Now it's next week, but we're really focusing on getting funding for our Metro Parks. And just want to thank everyone again for all the work that they're doing. I know there's many of us are being called to testify at the legislature for all these different issues. I do want to give one other federal update. Mainly we're meeting with our legislators here on the state updates, but we continue to work with our federal delegation on, as I said, the SAVE Act, which is the Elections Act, and then the immigration enforcement and the impacts that the Metro surge had on us. We're continuing to work with our delegation on the impacts of that. And then a bipartisan package to promote affordable housing, the 21st Century Road to Housing Act, is also in play in our nation's capital, and so we're going to be working on that. So those are some of the issues that we've got going on for our legislative team. Lots of work going on. Thanks to everyone who continues to do the work that we need to do.
Thank you, Commissioner McGuire. Any questions? County Connections?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Since we don't have a couple of meetings at the end of the month, I wanted to make sure to give a notice about our open book meeting for 2026. And I'll be sending some additional information for commissioners so you can share that in your newsletters and things to your constituents as well. But Ramsey County property owners are starting to receive their annual valuation notices, which shows their estimated market value and classification used to determine their property taxes payable in 2026. These usually arrive around late March. Property values determined through the assessment process help determine the property taxes that residents will pay the next year, so the following year. The county assessor estimates each property's current market value as part of the annual tax calculation process. So we urge residents to review their valuation notices carefully and to contact the assessor's office if they have questions about either their property value or their classification. Residents who believe their property value is incorrect can attend what's called an open book meeting on April 7th, where they can speak directly with county assessors and discuss their property valuations. These meetings give property owners the chance to ask questions and to review their assessments before the taxes are finalized. If residents want to appeal their 2026 value for taxes payable in 2027, they should call our assessing office at 266-2131 and talk to an appraiser. The meeting on the 7th is optional. It's not a requirement to appeal your value. You can also just make the phone call. So I just wanted to make sure that folks knew, because that's a part of our budget process that's a little bit different, and by the time you sort of start paying attention to your property tax isn't actually when you can do this process. So you have to be a little foresight in terms of trying to understand your property tax value, and also if you want to ask for a reconsideration. I wanted to also announce some good news. Our CHRO, Patience Ferguson, she's been selected to receive an Empower HR Award finalist, celebrated through the Minnesota HR Thrive Awards. It is part of the Minnesota Twin Cities Business Journal. This program is a movement dedicated to elevating the human resource profession, those champion innovation and celebrating resilient leaders. I know you'll be seeing Patience a little bit more in the next couple months. We have a couple of HR workshops coming your way, so congratulations to her. And then lastly, I just wanted to give a quick note about something new we're doing just until April 30th, so you have to kind of take advantage of it. But our environmental center is doing a pilot around mattress and box spring recycling, and so you can find a lot of information on our website. Ideally, you would make an appointment. This is only available for Ramsey County residents to be able to take advantage of, but they are working closely with Second Chance Recycling to recycle the mattresses and box springs, either for reuse or recycle, and it's a great opportunity to check out the Environmental Service Center during the springtime as well as we move into these months, and thanks to the team over there for doing this. So thank you.
Thank you. Outside Board and Committee reports. Let's begin, Rena.
Okay. Did you want to start over there?
All right, so good morning. It's been a while since we've been here, so I'm going to go back a little bit to like February to talk about the opportunity that I had to speak with students in the social inequalities in health course at the University of Minnesota of Public Health. I was able to share my personal journey in public service and discuss how policies that affect health and equity are implemented at both the local and state level, as well as the role of community and residents to influence decision-making, along with the role of county government that we play to address disparities and improving community well-being. So it's something I do every year with, in partnership with the University of Minnesota Public Health. Also, back on February 18, I met with Julia Wolf, who is over Healthy Aging Initiatives, just to really discuss opportunities to strengthen services and support for seniors in Ramsey County, and what those collaborations look like, and what are the partners and the partnerships that she have that focus on aging residents. And it really was just an opportunity for me to learn the role she played on behalf of our elders. We heard Commissioner McGuire talk about our lobbying out in D.C., which was part of the National Association of County Conference, where we had myself along with other county leaders from across the country gathered to share best practices and discuss federal policies impacting counties, including what the federal policies look like in reference to Ramsey County. It was a big delegation from Minnesota that showed up, and I'm just so appreciative of our congressional delegations and their leadership and advocacy and support that they do in D.C., but also coming back to Minnesota to have the same type of conversation with each one of us. This is really, I think it's a really great partnership that we have with them. Okay. Also, last week was able to attend a couple of iftar dinners that was hosted by Representative Samika Hussein and Representative Baker, So that was a partnership between Democrats and Republicans. That doesn't always happen, so it was really good to see Democrats and Republicans in the space breaking bread together. But this one event on the 2nd was at the Minnesota National Guard. You know, it was really good to see the National Guards there in recognition of one of the members there. And as you all know, Iftar is a recognition of the Ramadan and the importance of community connections. And so, I mean, that was like well attended by many people, you know, my colleagues, Representative, it was good to see Representative Commissioner Jefferson who showed up. It was good to have to be there in that space together with you. And also, I was able to attend another iftar that was hosted by the Midwest Community Care. Midwest Community Care is a local nonprofit that is located in my district on University Avenue. They came and did some renovation with a local business right there in the community on the avenue. And the space is it's a really, really beautiful space that they took a lot of time to invest in and was able to get some state, federal, and city dollars to do those renovations. It will be a space where the Somali community can get support around mental health and other support services, which is really well needed here in St. Paul. You know, we do have a large population of Somalis in St. Paul and in Minneapolis. But what I had learned over time, many of our Somali residents that live in St. Paul and the surrounding St. Paul area will often go to Minneapolis, where the support services were more readily available for them. So now they have a beautiful community space here in St. Paul for meetings and events, but they also are really focusing on those support services in need. And, you know, County Manager, I really like to create some time that we can support the Somali community here in St. Paul and see what that looks like in partnership with Ramsey County. I have no idea what that could look like, but more importantly, we can learn from them what the needs are for their community. And that's it for me. Also attended the AMC conference locally here too. So let me just state that. It's important that we also show up at the state legislature at the Capitol to support, not support, but really share with our Ramsey County delegation our legislative agenda and how we can work together to get that passed on behalf of not only Ramsey County residents, but their residents. That's it for me.
All right.
Kelly?
I will try to be quick. So I also attended NACO. I sit on the Environment, Energy, and Land Use Committees. Five of the 6 proposed resolutions were passed. The one that was not passed was unfortunately from Minnesota. Yeah, so we'll work on that for next time. When I came back, I went to the R&E meeting. It was a real standard meeting. We did recognize Dave Benke from the MPCA because he is retiring, so that was great. And Victoria was there and did bring cupcakes, which are always fabulous. I got a great update from the food scraps program. The 2025 numbers, about 12% of eligible households are participating, and that's both in Ramsey and Washington County. And the total ton was 208.7 tons collected from those households. Currently, the program is only operating in Maplewood and North St. Paul, but the food scrap program staff did share with us that we are in stage 2, phase 4 of the rollout plan, which will include the rest of Washington County and the northern suburbs of Ramsey County. So District 1, the rest of District 7, and staff has a communications plan, communicating that to residents, and hopefully start collecting and sorting by July. So we are really excited to have that roll out, and then it will be Roseville, Mary Jo.
Is there a
Coming
date
soon.
Look, is there a date to include St. Paul soon?
I knew you were gonna ask that. So I took a picture and I thought I had it pulled up. Let me grab the photo really quick. The dates are planned for Q4. That'd be stage 3, phases 5 through 7, which is early October of next year. So still,
coming.
It's coming. It is coming to St. Paul. There's still some of that. I also attended the Metro Conservations District meeting. I want to send my condolences to Ann White Eagle. She was the staff for the Ramsey County staff that sat on that board, and she passed away, unfortunately, a couple weeks ago. I did connect with the family, and I do know our Parks and Rec staff also sent some flowers and have a plan to plant a tree later on. So thank you to our staff for that, and it's a loss that we have. It was a really standard meeting with some, JPAs. They did do election of officers, but I will have to update you next time on who those officers are. I am not one of them. And then finally, my staff attended the March 3rd County Fair meeting. So for those of you that are unaware, the County Fair is scheduled to come back this year. The AG Society Board and the County Parks and Rec Department have agreed upon terms and contracts, so more to come on that. And I also participated at AMC at the Hill. It was great to meet with some of our legislators and chat with them about our priorities. And today, Kathleen is attending the state of Maplewood, is giving their address. So unfortunately, this was a reschedule, so I am not there. But with that, I will end it.
Awesome. Well, I will try to be quick as well. Going back a little bit into February, I had a chance to meet with the executive director of Roots Wellness Center in my district. Their space, they do a lot around mental health services, and over the last couple of months in the midst of the occupation, have been really active in different providing mutual aid funds to cover things like rent and utilities and groceries and all the really essential needs for folks in our community who have been directly impacted by Operation Metro Surge. So great time meeting with that group. I had a chance to testify a couple of times before the legislature. I testified before the Senate Human Services Committee to discuss the impacts of H.R. 1 and that it would have on Ramsey County specifically, and also had a chance to testify before the Senate Tax Committee on the Environmental Response Fund, which we are asking for an extension of the mortgage registry and deed tax to ensure that we can continue to fund the Environmental Response Fund. Also had a chance to attend NACO. I won't share more. I did a lot of the same things everybody else did. Also, I was invited to briefly speak at the 100th anniversary of Black History Month at the Ramsey County Correctional Facility. I want to give a special thank you to Director Long for inviting me to be a part of it. It was great to just see the community that they have built there and to be a part of that moment with the residents there. Also had a chance to attend the iftar that was hosted by Representative Hussein and Representative Baker at the Minnesota National Guard. I attended the AMC conference and had a chance to speak on behalf of the county to provide welcoming remarks to all the attendees at the conference and to really share about our values as a county, what we have experienced over these last few months, not only here, but across the state of Minnesota, and the impacts it's directly had on counties in regards to Operation Metro Surge. So was really happy to be able to share and to speak our truth as an organization, and happy that it was well received by some. I had a chance to also speak at the RLA gathering, the Rice Larpenteur Alliance. They had their annual community gathering, and I had a chance to present 2 awards, Community Champion Awards, to amazing small business owners and community leaders. Juan Lopez, who owns The Perfect Coffee on Rice Street, and Okoye Graham, who owns Nana's Jamaican Kitchen on Rice Street. Over the last few months in particular, they have been incredible, just partners in so many areas when it comes to supporting their community, especially in the midst of the occupation. So it was a real honor to lift them up and to highlight the amazing work that they are doing. And then I will wrap up with a couple more things around the Hamlin Midway neighborhood. Last Friday, the Snelling University Alliance, which is just starting to establish itself as an organization, had a walking tour of Snelling University with a number of partners to really imagine what we want to see along that corridor. I think it was really great to hear from a number of us from not only government, but from our district councils, from Hamlin University, from a number of different nonprofits along that corridor to really understand what's possible there. And we will continue those conversations as the Snelling University Alliance continue to establish itself. And one side note, next Monday we will see some improvement on that intersection with the demolition of the CVS that's at the corner of Snelling University, which we are all excited to be happening. Earlier this week, I also had a chance to have my monthly meeting in collaboration with Ward 4 Council Member Molly Coleman. We meet with a number of partners to discuss the different opportunities that's happening along Snelling University and to get updates. This particular week, we received an update from Kimball Court, the supportive housing that's on Snelling. As they near the end of their construction, they added 24 new units to the building, so they'll be moving residents in there as they also renovate the existing building. So hopefully by this October, they will be complete with all the not only the new building, but the renovations. And then finally, last night, we had the Welcome Back Legislators reception hosted by Mayor Herr and the St. Paul delegation. So got a chance to be there with a number of colleagues to hear directly from the mayor and from the delegation as we really get into this legislative session. So it was really great to connect with them. And I think it's also a great example and an opportunity for us as a board to continue to build our relationship with the city, with this new administration, maybe even hosting something similar to what we did with the county attorney and the county sheriff, with the mayor and with the city council, just so that they know that we're all on the same team. So, and then coming up this week, this Thursday, I'll be hosting my next quarterly District 3 Small Business Collaborative, and this time it'll be at the Community Hub on Wright Street, and we'll get a presentation from the Sheriff's Office. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Commissioner Singh?
Sure. Well, I can speed through some of these. I was also able to attend our NACO, our AMC conferences. My primary focus on these is health policy, and so it was lovely to be able to be with colleagues across the state to reinforce on the platform a confirmation to public health based on science. Strange that is part of our platform and has to be vocally part of our platform, but it is continually needing to be reiterated when it comes to our immigration suggestions. The CDC, the National Institute of Health, and all of these things are a little bit in an upheaval. So nice to see that county colleagues from across our country still want us to lean on science. And I'll also say I was able to sit in on an immigration policy panel discussion and represent what was happening here in Minnesota. I think it was refreshing to be able to let our colleagues know what's happening here, and so that they can start to prepare should this happen in their corner of the world. I was also able to attend the St. Paul Legislative Reception last night. What a beautiful evening to walk in downtown St. Paul and to see some of our colleagues. I want to lift up some of the events that I've been able to see or be able to participate. Last month I was able to attend I want to thank staff here at the Ramsey County staff who created or partnered with Hamlin University to host their Black History Month celebration. It was a really great afternoon. I was able to attend the Friends of the Library breakfast with Commissioner Miller. We also had representatives at our table from a couple of local school districts, as well as Senator Kunish, who is an advocate for our library system. So it was a wonderful time to also get together and to lift up that work. The iftar dinner was just fantastic. And then also was able to be in Moundsview this last weekend for the March into Spring Yard and Garden Expo. I want to also say that, we talk about kind of the county work that we've been doing to respond to recovery, and as we are still coming out of Operation Metro Surge. And it was really lovely to be able to attend the Planting Seeds for Suburban Ramsey community with a partnership between the Suburban Ramsey Family Collaborative and Do Good Roseville with my colleagues, Commissioner McGuire and County Manager Becker, as well as a number of other representatives from out the county system who were there because they're involved in those local activities, not because we specifically had invited them, but because they themselves are already engaged with efforts on the ground. And so what this meeting was is local organizers who were still continuing to figure out how to mobilize activated residents around mutual aid and attaching them to ongoing efforts for community assistance. And so there's another like program coming up in Vadnais Heights in the next couple of weeks. I'll bring more information on that. As far as operational excellence, I want to say I was able to attend two different events or two different sit-downs that was presenting really new and thorough research that were attended by staff. And I know that these kind of events really do inform quality work and the kinds of initiatives here in Ramsey County. One was the NAMI Annual Research Dinner, where we heard really up-to-date information about women who are mothers who are trying to recover some substance use disorders and some of the patterns that we're seeing as far as what actually is helpful for them, as well as the continuum of care for justice-impacted girls. There was a quantitative and qualitative report that really looked at girls who are in our foster care system and following them through. So I just want to lift up the work that it's not wash, rinse, repeat here at Ramsey County, that the everyday work is being lifted by data-driven and recent research as to what are the best practices to serve our community. And I do ask for the indulgence that March is Women's History Month. And in light of some of the threats to our democracy, I thought I would lift up Carrie Chapman Catt, who was a pioneering American suffragist and leader who played a central role in securing women's rights to vote in the United States. Carrie Clinton Lane Chapman Catt was born on January 9, 1859 in Ripon, Wisconsin, and grew up in Charles City, Iowa. She attended Iowa State Agricultural College, now Iowa State University, graduating in 1880 as the only woman in her class. Early in her career, she became one of the first women appointed as superintendent of schools in Mason City, Iowa. Catt's dedication to women's rights began in earnest after her first husband, Leo Chapman, died in 1886. She became active in the Iowa Women's Suffrage Association, eventually serving as state organizer. In 1890, she married George Catt, who supported her suffrage work and allowed her dedicated time to campaign for women's rights. Allies matter. Catt rose to national prominence as president of the National American Women's Suffrage Association, succeeding Susan B. Anthony in 1900. She developed the Winning Plan, a strategy to campaign for suffrage at both state and federal levels, which was instrumental in the ratification of the 19th Amendment in 1920, granting American women the right to vote. Catt championed the merger of two existing organizations, the longstanding National American Women's Suffrage Association with the National Council of Women Voters, to create the League of Women Voters in 1920. In her presidential address at the Nassau Convention, Catt said, "Let us raise up a League of Women Voters, the name and form of organization to be determined by the voters themselves, a league that shall be nonpartisan and non-sectarian in character and shall be consecrated to three chief aims: to use its utmost influence to secure the final enfranchisement of the women of every state in our republic, and to reach out across the seas in aid of the women struggling for her own in every land; to remove the remaining legal discriminations against women in the codes and constitutions of the several states in order that the feet of women may find these stumbling blocks removed, to make our democracy so safe for the nation and so safe for the world that every citizen may feel secure and great men will acknowledge the worthiness of the American Republic to lead. Over 100 years later, the League of Women Voters remains nonpartisan, grassroots nonprofit dedicated to empowering everyone to fully participate in our democracy, with active leagues in all 50 states and more than 800 leagues across the country. The League of Women Voters engages in advocacy, education, litigation, and organizing to protect every American's freedom to vote. Their mission is empowering voters and defending democracy. Carrie Chapman Catt went on to serve as president of the International Women's Suffrage Alliance, promoting women's rights globally, and continued her advocacy for women in international peace until her death in March of 1947. She is remembered as a masterful organizer, orator, and strategist whose leadership helped transform the political landscape for women in the United States and worldwide. And I will leave with this quote, which is a call for social justice and community action that I think is still current in these times. To the wrongs that need resistance, to the right that needs assistance, to the future in the distance, give yourselves. Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to applaud that. Thank you, Commissioner Jevon Singh, for giving us that great history. We are blessed with an amazingly vibrant League of Women Voters I think, in the country, and of course in our state and in our county. I'm personally a member of both the Roseville Area League of Women Voters and the New Brighton League, and they continue to have these amazing programs available to everyone, open to the public, and many of them at our libraries, in in Roseville and in Shoreview and Maplewood. And I just am so grateful to the work that they're doing in helping people register to vote and in really getting the word out about what it means to be a part of our democracy. I want to say that I thank our County Attorney John Choi, who spoke at the New Brighton League of Women Voters last week and did an amazing presentation on the things that are going on in the County Attorney's office. He does an amazing job of, talking about the things that his office and the county are doing to really prevent violent crimes and to really lower the crime rate that's going on here. And he has just got such amazing programs going on. So many thanks to our county attorney for his presentation. And I'm bringing him to my Rotary, our Optimist Club in Roseville, to talk about those same things. So thank you for doing that. And also, I want to just thank Commissioner McMurtry for his update on Snelling and University, because it's a path that I think many of us use to get to our places. And I'm grateful that there's work going on there. And just to give a shout out to the largest loon in Minnesota, which is right there on that corner, which is gorgeous, a stainless steel loon that it's larger than the other largest loon that was in northern Minnesota. So now Ramsey County hosts the largest loon statue in Minnesota. What Rita? So it's exciting to have that. So yes, it's been a couple of weeks, so I'm going to quickly talk about the amazing things that are going on. Many of them supported, of course, by our Ramsey County departments and things. The Roseville area schools had their local government meeting where a number of us were there who represent the Roseville schools. Commissioner Jevon Singh and Commissioner Miller were at the middle school to learn about the impact of Metro Surge on the school district, and it was sobering. I mean, we had teachers there that were saying how amazing the volunteers have been, providing food, providing security out, just out at the bus stops, and just helping our kids get to school and back, and our families, giving them some sense of security when they want to bring their kids to school. So just thanks so much to all of our school districts. We specifically heard about Roseville area schools at the meeting that we had, and just appreciate all the work that they're doing. The City of Little Canada had their volunteer appreciation night. I love it when people appreciate all the good work of our employees. Little Canada Parks and Recreation got an award for all the great work they're doing. Laura Linehan, who's the city assistant administrator, got the Employee Core Value Award, and Lisa Krieger, customer service technician, got an employee award. And just thanks to all of our employees that do such great work in our communities. Really appreciate that. I think Commissioner Jevon Singh mentioned the Suburban Ramsey Family Collaborative. I want to thank you for your leadership there at that meeting where there's lots of many organizations in the area that come together to talk about how we can work together on the issues that we share. Then, of course, I've already mentioned our National Association of Counties and our State Association of Counties. Just want to mention one more thing about our National Association. We had a congressional breakfast at the Library of Congress where almost all of our congressional delegation was there. So it was really great to hear from our two senators and many of our congressional delegation on the issues that we can work on together. So then we were able to hear from many people. So many thanks to that, to AMC for putting that together. And then back here in Minnesota at AMC, we mentioned our conference that was happening and Commissioner McMurtry giving the welcome. And also I want to just say that Senator John Hoffman spoke, and he did an amazing job of really helping us come together. I'm sure I know we're also grateful that he survived the shooting that occurred almost a year ago, well, coming up to a year. And he just does a great job of talking about how we all need to work together aside from our partisan differences. And I think it was just an amazing speech to give to that room of people commissioners from around the state. So thank you, Senator Hoffman, for that great work. Also, thanks to, the Suburban Ramsey Community Planting Seeds was a great event. Thank you to our county manager for doing a great presentation there out in the Roseville schools. Also, Rice Larpenteur Alliance had their annual community gathering, and that was really an amazing. Commissioner McMurtry and I were giving out awards at that amazing event. I am going to just thank Do Good Roseville, Kathy Ramout, and Sherry Sanders, and Gina Garung Vomhoff for getting an award for their service to community. And then Noelle Bakken, who is actually the sustainability coordinator for the city of Roseville, got the Volunteer of the Year award for all of her work with the Rice Larpenteur Alliance. And just want to encourage all of you that if you want a great community event, they just put on the most amazing events, a cleanup, a summer event, a winter event. Their events are amazing with amazing food, I might add. And so, and many thanks to Kim O'Brien, who really heads that up, and her team that put that together. So that was a great event. David Triplett from our elections, who's going to do our workshop next, he spoke at our Roseville Rotary, did an amazing job, lots of questions. He's so good and just so great at presenting all the great work that our elections team does here in Ramsey County, but he spoke to our Rotary. We had the Extension Committee meeting yesterday. Commissioner McMurtry and I were there, and I want to thank Dan Schmidt for giving another tour of the Environmental Center. I learned something new every day, and also I pick up some new things at the reuse center. So, there's a reuse center there that has items available for the public to come and reuse, and I'm always finding something that I need there. So it was thank you to Dan Schmidt for his great tour for our Extension Committee of that great work they're doing there. Also, we heard from the Expanded Food and Nutrition Education Program, or FNEP, and heard about from 4-H and also our Garden Educators Program. So our Extension Garden educators are in full swing working on what's coming up this summer. So that was Extension, and let's see, now we have coming up, the Ramsey County League of Local Governments this Friday is doing a tour of the Ramsey County 911 Dispatch Center. So any of you that are, of course, we're all members of that. Any of you that are wanting to come to that, I know that County Manager Becker is going to be there to talk about our 911 Dispatch Center to members of our League of Local Governments, which is all of our cities, school districts, and commissioners and legislators in the area. Also Monday, this coming Monday, Active Living Ramsey Communities, we'll do our quarterly meeting. We just meet 4 times a year. You're all invited to that as well. Those are on Zoom and in person, and we'll be continuing to learn about our biking and walking efforts that are going on in the community, and that's going to be at the Department of Transportation in Roseville. But we're going to hear about our regional solicitation presentation, which I know Commissioner Jong hears about some of this from at our Transportation Advisory Board meeting. But we're also going to talk about, different things that are going on around the county on that. So with that, Mr. Chair, I am going to hand it over to my colleague.
Thank you, Commissioner Jean.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's great to be one of the last ones because my colleagues have covered many of these. I will say I also toured Roots Wellness Center, and would just put a plug in is that they're a place that's very accessible and also at basically no cost for folks to be able to access a lot of their services. Speaking about the reverberating effects of the metro surge, our business relief resources is available online on the county's website, Ramsey County Means Business. Staff have been able to pull together some of the resources that have been available out there for businesses. I also attended meetings with our Ramsey County delegation as well as our lobby day with AMC, and had really good conversations with our Ramsey County delegation around the Capitol Host complex as well as the impacts of SNAP. The food support subcommittee group that I've been a part of has been really going into the weeds with many of the administrators of SNAP, going through, what are things that we can do to minimize the payment error rates, and looking at different states on how they have been doing it, and also are compiling a list of what are some of the 87 counties doing to minimize it. Overall, though, in preparation for this year legislative session, AMC, we put together, our position is making sure that the county administrative responsibility is capped at 50%, as it currently is, and then also assigning benefit cost share to the state. So ensuring that the state pick up on some of those benefit cost shares, because these are benefits that were never intended to be bear by local property taxpayers. They have always been federal programs. So that is the position, and we're hearing that from our legislators too, who are asking about SNAP. So it's a good thing that they're bringing up those conversations as well and are preparing for it. However, I would also add that hearing from AMC report back that some of our state legislators, not in the metro here, but think that it's just based that the payment error rates may be just based off on different counties, when really it's based off on the entire state. So everyone gets penalized, and in addition to that, they never do a statistical poll, it's never statistically significant. It's always just random ones, and sometimes the sample size that they pull is not even reflective of the entire state. So it really, it's something that all of our state lawmakers need to understand. So it's really important that we pull that, we close that message and make it tighter.
Quick question, do we know which counties they pull, and then which counties it's just...
It's always just random.
Random, and it's not disclosed, so if it's...
No, and it's never reflective of the number of caseloads that each county has.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, let's see. I want to put in a plug too, and also thank our previous board chair and Commissioner Victoria Reinhardt for sitting on the Pig's Eye Dump Task Force. They passed that report on just recently to the state legislature for some recommendations. And those two remediation options of pig's eye dump is the dig and haul and no backfill, which means it's removing all waste and transporting it off-site for proper disposal with no backfilling of the excavated area. And option 2 is the dig and line. Excavate and rebuild a new modern engineered landfill with a liner on the property to contain the waste. So thank you very much to Commissioner Reinhardt for continuing to serve on the task force, even though she retired last year. Thank you.
Well, Commissioner Reinhardt is our representative on that.
Yep.
board.
Mr. Chair, I know before you go, I forgot. I brought these handouts. I have to show you what extension is giving out. This was at the state extension meeting that I went at when I was at AMC. But every county has a form of all the things that extension is doing in their county. So this is a pack that I'll have in my office as reference. But I did bring all of us a Ramsey County extension card. And this is information that we can use of what extension does in our community. And it was just, it's really fun to see what's going on in other communities. And I apologize, I meant to do a show and tell when I did my thing. And we also have cards from the gardening extension program that we brought. So thank you for that, Mr. Chair. I want to hand these out. Yeah.
At the Regents Hospital Board of Directors meeting, we had good discussion, first of all, on Medicaid and the impacts it's going to have on the hospital. They're still assessing as we are. Alongside of that, of course, is Hennepin Medical Center. We had a lot of discussion about that. They're supportive of the current legislation going to the state, as we are, regarding the Hennepin Medical Center. Both Regents and Hennepin are the two hospitals that really provide most of the services to our communities. And any impact on Hennepin County Medical Center would have a huge impact on Regents Hospital, because that would be an alternative. And as it is now, we're still assessing what is going to be the impact of, the current situation at the federal government. The other brought up was the discussion with the medical waste that has gone to our recycling center. I could tell you this, that they very much top of mind regarding that issue and addressing that. So I thanked them for that and told them it was a priority for us. The other is at the Recycling and Energy Board meeting, Dave Beneke is retiring. He is our MPCA representative on the Recycling and Energy Board. I just wanted to give a shout out. He's been there, I don't even know how long he's been with us.
10 years on that board, yeah.
It seems like he's been there all
The whole time, right?
since, forever. And really a good ally at the MPCA for both Ramsey and Washington County. Moving forward here for today, we have, right after this, maybe take a 5-minute break. We have a workshop regarding elections. Mary Jo McGuire will chair that. And then this afternoon, we have a workshop regarding fiscal health analysis findings. And I believe it's a Garrison will be chairing that. With that, we will be...
And the workshop is downstairs?
Downstairs. We will be adjourned.
Okay, good.